Now, dozens of people from the Syrian rebel group Ahrar Asham have been killed in an explosion in Idlib. Its leader, Hassan Abboud, is among the dead. The group has appointed Hashim al-Sheikh to replace him. Well, let's get more on this now and speak to Bilal Abdul Kareem. He's a freelance journalist who personally knew Hassan Abboud, the late leader of Ahrar Asham. Thank you very much for being with us, Bilal. So you were a close friend, I understand, of Hassan Abboud. What kind of a man was he? What kind of a leader was he?
He was someone that was very gentle, and that's something that a lot of people wouldn't realize from a leader of a group that's fighting the regime. But he was very reasonable at the same time. He's someone that loved Islam very much, was very serious about Islam, but at the same time he loved people, whether they were Muslim people, non-Muslim people, Christian, and such like that. That's why so many people, even those who were opposed to him and some of his ideas, they respected him and they loved him.
So how big of a blow then is his death to the group, and what are the implications, you think, for not just the fight against the Assad government, but also the fight against the Islamic State group, because his group was one of the many groups in Syria actually fighting the Islamic State?
Well, firstly, it's a blow. There's no question about that. But after having said that, the movement that they're a part of survived the death of Abu Khalid al-Suri, and it survived the death of quite a few other commanders. This is on a bigger scale because it all happened at the same time. But after having said that, I believe, and after having spoken to them just this morning, I believe that they believe also that they'll get past this and they'll just continue to fight.
So you spoke to them this morning. You say, do you have any more details about the explosion? Was this a targeted killing or was it an accident, as has been suggested?
Well, the reality is that they themselves do not know. The meeting was taking place in an underground facility. There is a ramp that leads from the meeting area up until the ground level, which is where the blast took place. There was initially thought that it was some type of a chemical explosion because most of them died by way of suffocation. But it could have been any one of two things. It could have been a chemical explosion, or it could have been just the area where the bomb went off, that it created kind of like a thermobaric a type of explosion, and their lungs collapsed, and this was the situation. But they don't know yet. They don't know yet.
A new leader for the group has been appointed, Hashim al-Sheikh. What do we know about him? What direction do we expect him to take the group now?
I have not met him before. However, I did ask about him just as recently as this morning, and nobody's expecting changes, meaning any sweeping changes. Nobody's expecting there to be any type of negotiations with the government. Everybody's expecting it's going to be business as usual, and we'll just have to wait and see if that's the way it's going to pan out.
When you say everyone expects it to be business as usual, what does that mean? What is the main goal right now for this group that, just to remind our viewers, has also ties with the Free Syrian Army and is seen as being a more moderate rebel group than the Islamic State, for instance? What is the objective right now? Is it still to fight the Assad government, or is it to get rid of the Islamic State in Syria?
The ultimate goal is neither. The ultimate goal for them is to establish a society that's based upon truth and justice, based upon the Quran and the Sunnah. This is their goal. Fighting
how do they
ISIS,
get there?
Right, fighting ISIS, fighting the regime, or whatever comes in between. These are stepping stones towards a larger goal, and the goal is not to take on ISIS, and the goal is not even to take on Assad's forces, but the goal is to reach that point where Syrians can feel safe and secure in their own country and live in a place where they have justice from Islamic law. This is what it's always been. That hasn't changed, and I think that they're going to continue that fight. This is a blow, there's no question about that, but I do believe that they're going to continue that.
All right, Bilal Abdul Kareem, thank you very much. Very good to hear your thoughts on this. Bilal Abdul Kareem, a freelance journalist, joining us here in the studio in Doha. Moving on, in Australia's Prime Minister Tony Abbott has assured Peter Gress's parents his government will keep